participants at the moment, they can change their device. A very warm welcome to all our participants who have just joined us for this webinar on Fine Networking. The webinar will be starting at 6 p.m. Meanwhile, it is time for tea and networking. So I hope you all enjoy tea at your home, and you can keep sharing your affiliation details in the chat window. I hope chat window can be accessed by all the participants. At the end of this webinar, a feedback link will be shared in the chat window. Once you fill and submit the feedback link, you will receive your certificate of participation for this webinar in your inbox. The inbox will be the same email ID that you will be sharing in the feedback form. Kindly share a Gmail or some other email ID. Don't use a Yahoo email ID, because certificate generation, we are using a Google API. So it's all an automated process. So if you share a Yahoo mail ID in that case, obviously there would be a problem in the certificate being delivered in your inbox. In case any participant is having a problem to access the chat box from their device, there is still time, the room is still open. They may change their device through which they are participating in this webinar. We are also streaming this webinar live through YouTube for participants who will be unable to join this room once the webinar starts, as the room will be locked. But the YouTube link is only for knowledge dissemination purpose. No feedback form link will be shared through any other medium except this Cisco Webex room. Of your known who, if they have joined through the YouTube link, the room is still open. They may join through the WebEx link. Madam, certificate, for the certificate generation using an automated Google API. A feedback form link will be shared towards the end of the session with all the participants in the chat window. You will need to fill that feedback form link. You will have to fill in your details, your name, your organization, and your email address that you will like to appear on the certificate. And once you submit that feedback form, your certificate will be auto-generated and will be delivered to your inbox in a few minutes. I welcome all my participants who have joined us for today's session on software defined networking. I hope I am audible and I am visible to all. In case there are any problems, you may change your connecting device at the moment. The room is still open. Once the webinar starts at 6 p.m., the room will be closed and you will not be able to log in again once you have logged out. We will be starting with this webinar sharp at 6. Meanwhile, it is time for tea and networking. So I hope all of you are enjoying tea at your home in a safe place. And you can keep posting your details in the chat window. We keep on organizing various faculty development program, refresher courses, faculty induction programs. If it is of interest to you, you may click on the link that I am copying in your chat window to know about all our future upcoming events. I have shared our link on the chat window, which I hope is accessible to all of you on your device. Good evening to all my participants. I can see participants from all nooks and corner of the country have joined us for today's webinar. So I think that is the advantage of this online platform, that wherever we are, we can connect with each other and we can have knowledge dissemination. We also have an international journal, BJIT, which is published by Springer Nature, Singapore, and the details of the same also I in the chat window. We shall be sharing the feedback link in this chat window. Chat window is the same window in which I have just posted a message regarding our BJIT and in which you have just inquired. In the same chat window, we shall be sharing the feedback link towards the end of the session. If you cannot see anything in the chat window, kindly change the chat window option to all panelists or everyone. We also organize an IEEE approved international conference annually. Our this year annual conference is IndiaCom 2021. The link I have shared in the chat window again for information of all our participants. If you have a original research paper written and you are desirous of submitting it in a conference, you may submit it to IndiaCom 2021. A very warm welcome to all our participants who have joined us today for this webinar on software defined networking. We shall be starting with the webinar sharp at 6 p.m. So till then it is time for networking. Some participants are asking the last date for submission of the manuscript in the conference. Well, the last date is approaching. It is 2nd November. So, if you are desirous of submitting a manuscript, kindly do it soon. Well, in the feedback form that will be shared at the end, the feedback form link you will be getting in the chat box at the end of the session. No link has been shared right now. It will be shared towards the end of the session. Online in the chat box, in the same chat box in which you have written the message, ma'am, in the same chat box, the feedback form link will be shared. For the conference, ma'am, you can contact us anytime on our number. You have our number, I suppose. So you can contact me anytime. We will help you for that also. I welcome all my participants who have joined us today for this webinar on software-defined networking. We shall be starting the session sharp at 6 p.m. Good evening, Dr. Vipin Gupta. Welcome to the webinar. Our expert for today's session, Dr. Vipin Gupta, is already there with us.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, you may even try sharing your content. Sharing content is there at the bottom of your screen.
Okay, I will share the PPT that I'm going to display. So I will share that with the participants.
Yes.
That means for distribution purpose. Yes. Okay, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Meanwhile, I welcome all my participants who have joined us for today's webinar on software-defined networking. Sir, your slide is visible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I welcome all my participants. Yes, sir.
You continue, ma'am. We will start at 6, I guess. So you can.
Yes, sir. We'll be starting at 6.
Yes.
Meanwhile, our participants are still joining in. So I
No
was
issue,
just
ma'am.
welcoming all the participants.
Issue, ma'am.
I welcome all my participants who have joined us today for this webinar on software-defined networking. We shall be starting with the session sharp at 6 p.m. Our expert for today's session, Dr. Vipin Gupta, is already there with us. I request all the participants, I hope I am audible and I am visible to all of you. You can enjoy, this is time for tea and networking, so you and you can easily share your details in the chat window. The video recording of all our sessions will be shared on our YouTube channel. The link for the same would be shared with the participants in the chat window. A very good evening to all the participants. We are also streaming live on our YouTube, but our YouTube channel is just for knowledge dissemination purpose. So any of your known or colleagues or your friends who have joined us through the YouTube channel at the moment, you may kindly request them to currently log out and log into the WebEx room, which is still open. Once the session starts, the room will be locked and then there will be no mechanism to join. But the participants who are logged in with us through the WebEx room, would be receiving feedback form link at the end of this webinar for the generation of participation certificate. On no other channel will we be sharing any other link for certificate generation. Warm welcome to all the participants. I can see participants from both academia and industry have joined us today for this webinar, and from all nooks and corners of the country, participants as far as Odisha have joined. A very warm welcome to all my participants. Good evening, Huda sir.
Good evening, Dr. Ritika, and good evening, Dr. Vipin. How are you?
And how are you?
Welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Good evening to all the participants. Our time is 6 p.m. sharp. We will start at 6 p.m. We start meeting room early so that the participants can join easily and there is no problem of any network or any other issue. Meanwhile, those participants who have not registered for our forthcoming webinars, I hereby request to all of you, please register for forthcoming webinars. This week, there is an exception. Day after tomorrow, means 2nd November 2020, we have additional program in addition to that what weekly evening program we have. So the forthcoming next program is on 2nd of November. That is day after tomorrow. National Symposium on Emerging Technologies for Effective Management of Pandemic. That 2nd November is a 67th Foundation Day of Institution of Electronics and Telecom Engineers. On that auspicious day, evening 5:30 to 8, this symposium has been organized. And if you attend, we will be happy and you will get too much of that because 3 independent speakers, one on digital twin, second on 5G for pandemic, and then third on IoT for pandemic have been invited for that. So if you have not registered so far, you can register. Then our forthcoming programs are on 6th of November. 6th of November program is by the former IIT director, Professor D.P. Kotari, on optimization on AI techniques, very relevant topic in today's time. Next is 21st of November by Dr. Mohit Gambhir on value of IPR in academic research. Dr. Mohit Gambhir is the director of IPR Relation Cell of Ministry of Education, the formerly Ministry of Human Resource and Development, MHRD. And then after is 28th of November, Mr. Shubhankar Pal from Altran on digital twin. And then 4th December, Professor Manohar Lal, he will be talking on AI in everyday life. So these 5 programs are open. The day after tomorrow's program, that is of 2nd November, the registration might get closed today only after this webinar. We have kept purposefully open so that those participants of today's webinar, if you have not registered, you may like to register, you can register. By today evening, we will be closing registration for 2nd November program. So in between, you can register for that. This the time for starting this program is 6 p.m. sharp. Will be starting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for all the information. I warmly welcome all my participants to this webinar on software-defined networking. Soon in a few minutes, sharp at 6. So meanwhile, it is time for tea and networking. I hope you all are enjoying tea at your places. Keep posting your details in the chat window.
The person you have called is speaking to someone else. You can wait or call again later. आपने जिस व्यक्ति को कॉल किया है वो अन्य कॉल पर व्यस्त है. कृपया प्रतीक्षा करें या कुछ समय पश्चात प्रयास करें. The person you have called is speaking to someone else. You can wait or call again later.
A very good evening to all the participants. I welcome you all to this webinar on software-defined networking. I hope I am audible and visible to all our participants. The webinar will be starting sharp at 6 p.m. So meanwhile, I hope all our participants can keep joining. In case any of your colleagues or friends have joined this webinar from some other channel except Cisco meeting room, because we are also live streaming on YouTube. In that case, you can tell them that the room is open, so they may join in through the Cisco WebEx link, because all participants who are there with us live in this meeting room will be receiving a certificate of participation link, feedback form link towards the end of the webinar. Any other participant who has joined us from any other link will not be receiving any such link shared towards the end, because our YouTube channel link is only for knowledge dissemination purposes. Thank you. I welcome Shri R.K. Vyas sir, President Computer Society of India. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Professor Vyas.
Good evening. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Hope everyone is fine.
Are in time.
I'm always in time, sir.
You are always. You are always.
Once you ring me, then I immediately join you.
Oh, great, great. Instead of picking up the phone, you thought that you first join and talk there. Instead of an audio mode, let's talk in video mode. Today we are missing Professor Bhatia
Challenge,
from
sir.
Bangalore. Dear participants, we keep on sharing these login details for forthcoming webinars on the WhatsApp group. If you are member of any of our webinar WhatsApp group or HDP WhatsApp group, very good. If you are not member of any of our WhatsApp group, then I will request to all of you that those who are not member of any of our WhatsApp group, please join any of our WhatsApp group. We'll be sharing the link of one of the WhatsApp group here. So through that link, you can always join our WhatsApp group. Joining WhatsApp group makes it handy to attend programs, because many of the times the emails go in as spam, gets delivered somewhere else. So it is better to remain connected on WhatsApp, because it is the most effective mechanism of communication. So I have shared a link of the WhatsApp. If you are not member of any of the WhatsApp group, then please join the this WhatsApp group. Dr. Ritika will be starting sharp at 6, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, Professor Subrata has also joined us. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the session. A very warm welcome to all my participants who have just joined. I hope I am audible and I am visible to all. We'll be starting the session soon, sharp at 6.
Good evening, Dr. Vipin Gupta.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, should we start?
Oh, yes, please start.
Thank you, sir. A very good evening to all distinguished panelists and participants. Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications with Computer Science Chapter of IEEE Delhi Section, Consultants Network Affinity CNA Group of IEEE Delhi Section, Life Member Affinity LMA Group of IEEE Delhi Section, Inter-Society Relations IRS Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi Section, Industry Relations and Site Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi Section, with the associations of CSI, SAFA Society, ISTE Delhi Section, and IIT Delhi Center, welcomes you all to this webinar on software-defined networking. Michael Cooney stated not very long ago that software-defined networking established a foothold in cloud computing, intent-based networking, and network security, with Cisco, VMware, Juniper, and others leading the charge. Well, the above quote reflects the current situation. Been a part of industry project that's and the big in the last 30 years.
Dr. Ritika, your voice is your voice is breaking in between.
Okay, sir. Sir, am I clearly audible?
Now it is clear. I think keep other device on mute and then speak.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Industry ways predict that software-defined networking is going to redefine the networking and the cloud world. This is the biggest technological change that has happened in networking field in the last 30 years. SDN is a new way to design, build, and operate networks. There is a need to innovate in the network. We have seen tons of innovation in applications, devices, computing, and storage. Yet, the underlying network that connects everything has remained unchanged. SDN opens the network up for innovation. It replaces static, inflexible, complex networks with networks that are agile, scalable, and innovative. The webinar today aims to discuss the all-round technological perspectives of SDN. I would first take this opportunity to welcome amongst us our distinguished panelists for the day. We are privileged to have amongst us a galaxy of experts. I welcome Professor Subrata Mukhopadhyay, Chairperson, Consultants Network Affinity, CNA Group, and former Chairperson, IEEE Delhi Section. I also welcome Sri R.K. Vyas, President, Computer Society of India, CSI, and Professor A.K. Saini, Chairman, Vice President, CSI and IIT, and Dean School, University School of Management Studies, GGS IP. I now request Professor Subrata Mukhopadhyay to commence this session with his welcome address. Over to you, Subrata sir.
Thank you, Ritika, for starting the session. I welcome on behalf of IEEE Delhi sections and its number of organizational units already mentioned by Ritika, particularly the panelist, speaker, and other presents in today's webinar on software-defined networking, or in short, SDN. I just reiterate some of the issues what Ritika has touched, because at some point of time or not, I mean, I was though not corrected with this topic, but basically with the hardware part of it, well, networking and all these things. So truly speaking, the software-defined networking established the basis of connectivity with cloud computing, intent-based networking, network security, what not actually all in different platforms. It is a big thing. And earlier we used to see supremacy of the hardware in the networking world. Then came the software-defined networking, separating the network control plane from the data plane that forwards network traffic. So that's it enabled better management of network resources. Yes, I agree. For the life cycle of the hardware, cost will go very high if we try to remove it or replace it within 6 months. But with software, it is definitely flexibility is much more. So it supports no problem with the newer developments on this edge computing, IoT, remote access, intent-based networking, and everything possible on earth on the software front. In fact, in view of the developments rapidly taking place, definitely one can depend and look forward for the future of SDN with great hope and expectations. With these words, I expect lively participation of the audience and our sincere thanks to the speaker of the day. Over to Ritika to conduct the session further.
Thank you, sir. I now request Sri R.K. Vyas, President, Computer Society of India, to motivate us with his words.
Professor Vyas, you are on mute. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here once again in the weekly webinar being conducted by Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Application and the professional societies like Computer Society of India, IET, ISTA, IEEE, and others. And I hope in the last 6 months we have been almost touching each and every area of computer awareness, then the research topics, then the latest development in computer science, quantum computing, everything, most of the things we have been conducting. And this topic, which is the software-defined networking. Well, most of us, when we talk about networking, we always think that networking is something like wires and cables and switches and all those things. How it is managed by the software, how the softwares are being developed to manage those things, that is really a big task. And as we know, in our country, when computer society, when most of our IT professionals are software savvy, and in the whole of the world, Indian IT professionals are known as software IT professionals only. And with these things, our software also, as Professor Subrata and Dr. Ritika has also already given the preview of SDN, that is software-defined networking. I think our software professionals are really very innovative, and in time to come, they will be really helpful in developing various kind of software routines, software case studies, and many more things, so that the network hardware which we are utilizing can be effectively used at various stages. And moreover, when we say Atmanirbhar Bharat or innovations in India, obviously most of us, when we are in and hardware industry, we are still lacking back, and we are dependent on other countries for hardware. So obviously, how to manage those hardwares, how to work with those hardwares, and develop a software-defined networking type of softwares and things, that will be really good for our software professionals or the IT professionals. And I hope Dr. Vipin Gupta, who is an expert in this, he's a CEO in utility, in one of the very good organizations, he'll be deliberating on this topic very nicely, and the persons and all the faculty members, students, and the person more, and as we know, we always get more than 400 people connected on every evening, so they will be benefited this. With these words, I must thank Professor Huda, Dr. Ritika, and all other professional society heads for giving the opportunity to talk to me. And finally, I wish that Dr. Vipin Gupta will be giving us a very good knowledge awareness session. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor M.N. Hoda, Director, Bharti Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management, BVI CAM, to address the participants with his inspiring words.
Good evening, my friends. At the outset, let me welcome Dr. Vipin Gupta ji,
Thank you,
my
sir.
very old friend and expert of this domain, software-defined networking. I also take this opportunity to welcome all my friends from premier professional societies, Professor Vyas, the National President, Computer Society of India, Professor Subrata Mukhopadhyay, the past chairperson of IEEE Delhi section, and the present chairperson of Consultants Network Affinity Group, Professor Krishnamurthy. Voice is Professor Krishnamurthy Subramaniam, and so many of experts from different domain, different walks of life. I can't name of them. I take this opportunity to thank all the participants from different parts of the country and abroad. This is 23rd webinar since 6th of June. Imagine. Not even a single week we missed. We started this series, weekly evening free webinar series on 6th of June during pandemic, with one motivation, with one objective of continuing learning despite disruptions, and we are continuing. Participants from all parts of the country are joining. Keep on waiting for the webinar. It is a matter of great satisfaction. So my gratitude to all the participants, my thanks to all the participants. Your wholehearted participation motivates us to organize these webinars on a more robust way, in a more organized way. That is the motivation which we are getting. My dear friends, there are 5 webinars which are still open for the registration, and going out of our convention of having weekly evening webinar, this week, day after tomorrow, that is 2nd of November, we have also organized a free national symposium on emerging technologies for effective management of pandemic, in which there are 3 premier and cutting edge technologies related talks. One is on digital twins, second is on IoT for pandemic, and third is on 5G for pandemic. If you have not registered, please do register for this 2nd November program as well. In addition to that, there are 4 other webinars which are open for the purpose of registration. On 6th of November, that is 6th of November, that's Friday, we have organized a webinar on optimization and AI technique by Professor D.P. Kothari, the former director IIT Delhi, and he will be talking on this topic. Optimization and AI is going to become a very hot area, particularly on account of this Industrial Revolution 4.0 AI enabled world. Then we have requested Dr. Mohit Gambhir, who is the director of IPR cell at Ministry of Education, the earlier MHRD, to talk on value of IPR in academic researches, and is the government, and in which way the government is conducting a kind of mission mandate to ensure that the IPR understanding should be increased and the people should go forward for IPR. And that webinar is on 21st of November, open for the registration even as on date. Then after, we have requested from Altran, Mr. Shubhankar Pal, to give a detailed perspective of digital twin on 28th of November. Do register for that. And then after, the next webinar, which is announced, is 4th of December, Professor Manohar Lal talking on AI in everyday life. Because now the AI is going to be so pervasive that almost 90% plus activities of our day-to-day life will be dominated, will be having the omnipresence of AI in every domain, in every spectrum. We have also announced a 1-week faculty development program that is on outcome-based education and NBA accreditation process. Many of the teachers who are attending the program find it useful, and there is a separate link to register for that program. If you have not registered, you may register for that. In addition to that, we have an IEEE International Conference, IndiaCom. The last date of submitting the paper for that 15th edition of IEEE Conference is 2nd of November. So those who are from computer science or IT, or maybe from electronics but working in interdisciplinary subject, or maybe a cross-disciplinary subject or transdisciplinary areas, having some application of computer science and IT, they may find that conference useful and they may submit the paper. The last date is 2nd of November. You may submit your full paper, you may even submit your abstract, and then you can get a week time to submit your full paper. My dear friends, the topic of this webinar was kept so interesting, software-defined networking. And I have always, many of the participants who have heard me on these platforms earlier, they know that the concept of change is very dear to me. This software-defined networking is also the part of the same change. And that's how I say that there is nothing constant in this world except change. If we do not change ourselves upfront, possibly the changed ecosystem will change us. This is applicable for we people, this is applicable for technology, this is applicable for organizations, this is applicable for entire ecosystem. When I'm talking this, I have given this example multiple times that Nokia feature phone was a matter of such a robust product that the people carrying Nokia feature phone was having a pride. But Nokia didn't realize the change, refused to Android, and where is Nokia now, you can understand. Exactly in the same way, the software-defined networking is telling us that not many things have changed in the domain of technology, but the underlying network still remains same. So what we are talking under software-defined networking, that can we ensure to make network more software-oriented than what the hardware-oriented? Professor Subrata has already spoken on that. So I will not speak too much on this topic because I have got Dr. Vipin Gupta to speak on this topic in a detailed manner, and all the speakers prior to me, including Dr. Ritika, has already established the foundation of software-defined networking where we are moving forward. But I wanted to sensitize to all my participants that this change process is going to make our network more flexible, more agile, more responsive, more adaptive to the requirement of the software applications. And when the network will change in that particular way, the experience of the applications being run by all of us will be absolutely different. That is where the future of software-defined networking is going to happen. And again, in almost every applications of our day-to-day life, this concept is going to remain. And for that, first we have to change ourselves, and that's how I say that इंसान घर बदलता है, लिबास बदलता है, रिश्ते बदलता है, दोस्त बदलता है. हम सब कुछ बदलते हैं माय डियर फ्रेंड्स. इंसान घर बदलता है, लिबास बदलता है, रिश्ते बदलता है, दोस्त बदलता है, फिर भी परेशान क्यों रहता है? क्योंकि हम खुद को नहीं बदलते. And that's how a great poet has so beautifully said that उम्र भर गालिब यही भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी और मैं आईना साफ करता रहा. So टेक्नोलॉजी के फ्रंट पे टेक्नोलॉजी के एडवांटेजेस अवेल करने. The message here is, let's be ready for a changed technology which is going to touch us, which is going to embrace us, which is going to facilitate us in almost every sphere of our life. Next important message to all of you, that sometimes people keep on writing me, I have not received login credential, I have not got email confirmation, etc., etc. My request to all the participants that if you are not part of any of our WhatsApp group, please join any of our WhatsApp group. We have shared the link of the WhatsApp group in this chat window, and through that WhatsApp group link you can join our WhatsApp, because sending login credential is very handy on WhatsApp group, is very instant on WhatsApp group than sending emails. Emails will of course go, but if you are connected on WhatsApp group, this will become more handy and this will become more instant. If you are already member of any of the WhatsApp group, you need not to join again. But if you are not member of any of our WhatsApp group, please join any of the WhatsApp group. We will be sharing the details of the WhatsApp group. The last but not the least, the procedure of getting certificate. Old participants know the procedure. For new participants, I wanted to tell you first that at the end of the session, we will be sharing a feedback link. You have to fill up the feedback form. Once you fill up the feedback form and submit it, the data from the feedback form will be captured. So in whichever way you want your name to be written on your certificate, in whichever way you want your organization, means college name, your school name, your institute's name, your company name should be written in place of the organization. In whichever way you want, you write your organization name and your own name. Based on these two input parameters, your certificate will be auto-generated after you submit the feedback form. Once your certificate is generated, its PDF will be created and it will be saved in a Google Drive, and from there an email will go as attachment to your registered mail ID. So whatever mail ID you will be giving in the feedback form, on the same email ID the mail will go. Now if you if you do not receive the certificate, please do not leave this meeting room. After 7:30, this meeting room will be converted into a call center, and I wanted to apprise you that this entire process of giving you certificate, right from feedback submission till you get email with the certificate, has been automated using Google API. And if you leave the meeting room by 8:30, feedback link will be over. By 8:30, our system will be deactivated, and my team won't be in a position to help you out to get the certificate. If after 8:30 any of you are contacting us, we are sorry, we won't be in a position to give you certificate. So certificate system will work from 7:30 to 8:30, in fact. And once you get certificate, then write thank you so much, register for other program, join next time. As long as you are waiting for the certificate, you have not got it, please do not leave the meeting room. Once you leave meeting room and start talking to us on our WhatsApp, on our phone, on our email. Sorry, because this system is working in auto mode. We cannot help you outside this WebEx system to get your certificate, maybe through email, maybe through WhatsApp, or through any other mechanism. We remain busy in call center, so if you keep on calling us, sorry, we won't be in a position to take a call also. So it is better to remain connected in WebEx room. Those who are hearing us on YouTube or any other platform through extended mechanism live streaming, please understand, we will be giving certificate only to the participants who will be part of Cisco WebEx. If you are attending on the YouTube and other channel, Facebook channel, only for the purpose of knowledge and information, you are most welcome to remain there. But if you also want a certificate, you should join Cisco WebEx. The meeting room is still open. But before we share the meeting room, the link for the certificate purpose, we will be locking the meeting room. And then after, people keep on writing me on my WhatsApp or my email, and so much of irritation, we can't open the meeting room at that moment of time. So please do not leave the meeting room. That's the process of certificate. And unless you fill the feedback form, we won't be in a position to give you certificate. We will help you in the process that if you have filled up the feedback form, why are you not getting certificate? Where is your certificate pending? Where is your certificate awaited? But that kind of help we can extend in the call center. But if you do not fill up the feedback form, we are sorry, we won't be in a position to help you. And the link for the feedback form will be shared in this chat box. And you need to be constantly looking on the chat box and seeing the moment feedback link has been shared. If you are attending from your mobile, by now you must learn how to open the chat box on your mobile. You have to slide the screen and then see the chat box, and from there you can log in and fill up the feedback form. With this note, I want to conclude and hand over the session to Dr. Ritika, that this entire process of webinar is basically the process to enlighten us, process to bring us into a knowledge arena from an ignorance arena, process to bring us into light, the light of knowledge from ignorance, from the darkness of illiteracy. And that's how a great poet has simulated this entire process of dissemination as ujale apni aankhon mein mahfouz kar lo. Means keep power of knowledge along with the part of your personality. Internalize power of knowledge as part of your personality. And once you have the power of knowledge internalized with your part of the personality, once your personality is transformed with the help of the integrated part of the knowledge, then whatever challenges will come before you, you will be gracefully facing all those challenges and mitigating them. And that's how the poet has simulated it and said that उजाले अपनी आंखों में महफूज कर लो, बड़ी दूर तक ही रात होगी, मुसाफिर हो तुम भी, मुसाफिर है हम भी, किसी मोड़ पे, मींस अगले वेबिनार में 2 नवंबर को फिर मुलाकात होगी. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best to all the participants from different parts of the country. Dr. Ritika, over to you.
Thank you, sir. I would now welcome amongst us our expert speaker, Dr. Vipin Gupta, CEO Solutions and Unit Labs Private, Moga, Punjab. Dr. Vipin Gupta is BE, Red Hat Certified Security Specialist, Red Hat Certified Engineer, Certified Ethical Hacker, and Cisco Certified, Microsoft Certified MCSE MCSA. He is running his own companies, Unit Solutions and Unit Labs Private Limited. The company has got tie-ups with various other companies and organizations for offering consultancy, open source based solutions, high-end training to faculty and industry professionals. He has got more than 25 years of experience in IT related fields. His specialization is in networking, Linux, security, cloud computing, SDN, Docker, and Kubernetes. During his long career, he has been at various universities, engineering colleges, polytechnics, private institutes, and corporate sector. He is interacting with both corporate and the academic world and has been a resource person for NITTTR for various STCs. He's 4 books, 2 on Linux, 1 on SDN, and 1 on Kubernetes Essential, and has also created 4 online courses on Udemy. He has conducted hundreds of workshops and STCs on various technologies. He has also published more than 20 papers in international conferences and journals. Recently implemented one of the most sophisticated lab on advanced networking and cloud computing at some private university. This lab contains IaaS private cloud, PaaS private cloud, different hypervisors implementations, DevOps, cluster implementation, and SDN. I welcome you today to this session, sir, and I now request you to enlighten the House on software-defined networking.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you. I would like to start with the topic, and I'm keeping it will be mostly. Although I'm a practical person, I always love to demonstrate the technology practical. Due to the diverse participant, so will be keeping it a little bit slide. So when we talk about software-defined networking, me and my team, they started working on software-defined networking approximately 7 years back. When we start working SDN, not much information was available. And learning SDN, it was a very painful process. That means even simply understanding what was SDN, it took us around about 6 months. You can say that, sir, you having that much brain, that is why it took 6 months for you. No. When you enter into this technology, software-defined networking, it is very confusing. That is why I have shown here the elephant. We will see what the elephant has to do with this technology. We are talking about SDN, but on the front screen, the photo of elephant is there. Then there is another portion where compute is running very fast. But what is network? It is trying to slow down, because we have seen in compute, virtualization has changed the whole computing world, or infrastructure as a service like EC2 or Google Compute Engine. They have changed the computing totally. But what is lacking? Networking is lagging behind. That means from the last 30 years, not much has changed in the networking. We are using the same type of technology. And in the bottom, this can be offending to some companies. I have shown you the relation between the vendor and the customer. When you talk about the networking world, generally customers have much choices. It is the vendor that is the supreme. So now I will slowly will you what is basically SDN and what is the benefit of SDN and where we are going to use SDN and what are the related technologies which are using the SDN. So again, whenever I SDN, I give the example of 6 blindfolded person when they were asked. There is one that 6 blindfolded person was asked to describe what is elephant. So because that person was blindfolded, so one person who said that it is a rope, and one person who, when he touched portion of the elephant, it said it is a wall, and when they touched the leg, they said it feels like tree, and to this it said it is snake, and to this it is spear, and what they said to this, it is fan. That means when they were blindfolded, they were not able to guess the whole what animal they are seeing, but partially they were right. Same way, what happens when we start working on SDN? Some people say ODL is open daylight is your SDN. Some will say OVS, open vSwitch is your SDN. Somebody will say OpenFlow is SDN. Then some will say Mininet is then Rio. That means different persons will say that POX controller is Rio, is your SDN. When we say partially they are correct, but all these technologies, they are part of SDN. It depends upon which you want to. That big ecosystems. So after this webinar, you will be able to understand the relation between the different technologies. Now, I'm before starting with, I'm giving you certain the sales figure of some companies, and this is the sales figure of the biggest networking company, Cisco. The figures are a little bit old, but I just want to point out one thing, that Cisco net sales in 2016 were around about 50. And look at that, this cost of goods sold, only 18 billions. And what was the profit? $30 billion of profit all the years. That means they are having around about $50 billion revenue. But the cost of goods sold is only, you can say 40%. And look at the profit. Now we want to see why so much profit. What is there, what they are creating, what they are making, and how the SD is going to affect, like Uda sir was saying, Nokia, they could not predict that Android is going to come, and from elephant they become like a mouse. Same way, we have to see from where they are getting the revenue, and if they are not going to adopt the SDN, what is going to happen. So now when this Cisco company, how they are earning the revenue, or even D-Link or Jupiter, this company, how they are earning the their income. Mainly what they are selling, they are selling routers, they are selling load balancer, they are selling firewall. Now when I talk about the switches, I am talking about the managed switches. One are normal switches, one are managed switches. Managed switches which have got operating system also. Now please remember, minimum one switch like a Cisco switch, it is going to cost you at least 35,000. And when we are talking about one proper model of Cisco router, it is going to cost you around about 1 lakh rupees. And when we are going to talk about the, it's going to cost you around about 20 lakh rupees. And regarding load balancer, it is even costlier. It will be around about 50 lakh rupees. The cost will be a little bit fluctuation will be there. But the more, now what is happening when I talk about Cisco? Why they are charging 35,000 or any other companies competitive? Why they are charging so much of money? Because their switches are manageable. Their switches has got one operating system. Like when we buy PC, we will have either a Linux as operating system or a Windows as operating system. Same way, these switches, router, load balancer or firewall, what they have got? They have got the operating system there. And that means their switches has got two parts. One is data plane. Data plane Normally, what we do when we do the networking, we attach our PCs to the switches. If it is 24 port switch, we can attach 24 PCs. Those 24s comes under data plane. But one PC to another PC, the data will go. That will be controlled by the control plane. So in the case of Cisco, data plane is there, control plane is there. And control plane is nothing but operating system. Cisco operating system, internet working operating system. Now, when I talk about that switches is going to cost 35,000, please remember that data plane hardly costs 2,000 rupees. What they are charging rest of the money, 33,000 charging for the control plane. Now, in the case of router, it is approximately, it will start from 1 lakh and could be up to 50 lakh rupees also router, but we are talking basic model. Now, what happens in 1 lakh, data plane is hardly rupees, and what they are charging, 95,000 they are charging for the control plane. And firewall, 20 lakh. I will hardly say that cost is just 20,000 rupees. Rest they are charging for the control plane. And 50 lakh. And the data plane hardly costs you 50,000. Rest is software. Now we will see. We are generally say we will see that we will purchase the data plane and we will use the pirated. No, these Cisco iOS, they are not. They cannot be pirated. So when we go to these data plane and control plane, they will be given to us. They will be tightly bundled. You cannot just purchase the data plane of a switch or a router or load balancer or firewall. You have to be combined. That means tightly bundled together. So the problem with traditional networking. Now, what the SDN has done has separated the forward plane and control plane, and they, for communication purpose, what they have done, they have created one new protocol, open flow protocol. So now what we can do, we can plane for 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, but simple purchasing will not do anything unless we are going to have the control plane. Like by the PC, but we have not installed any system, then that PC will be, that hardware will be used. So in the case of PC, we either install Linux or we install the Windows. Same way, plane. Now already certain companies are there, Northwest company, then Northbound company, then big switch company there, then FS companies there. Lot of companies are there already. Which can give you separately the forward plane, but the problem is till and unless you are going to have the control plane, that is useless. So now, from where we are going to get the this control plane? So please remember, already many control planes are freely available. One of them is Box, second is your Rio, third is Open Daylight, fourth is your Floodlight. Now new other new controllers are coming up like Honest. That means what we are going to do? We will purchase the data plane for 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or that 20,000 rupees. Then what we are going to do? We will use that open source control plane. Now what will happen? Now going to happen? It will become a switch. Or let me show in the next. That now what we will have? We will have the data plane from company like Big Switch, Northbound company. We will have their data plane. Then what we are going to do? We will control plane. We will attach control plane. And I have already given the example of control plane. Box is there, Rio is there. Then Open Daylight, shortly that is called ODL. Then you have got Floodlight, Honest is there, Faucet is there, many controls plane freely available. Now, again one problem. Suppose I have buy the hardware. I want to create the PPT. I will have buy the hardware. Now what I will do? I will install the Windows operating system. Now simply installing Windows operating system is not going to give me the capability of creating the PPT. What additional thing I need? I have to install the Office also. Then only I will be able to create the PPT. Same way, when you have got the data plane, okay, very cheap, then what you are going to do? You are going to use the free control plane. But again, it is useless. Then what we are going to read? We are going to write some application. That means what I will do? By using some controller, suppose POX or Rio, what I will do? I will create application, firewall application. Now what will happen? My device will behave like a firewall. And if I am going to create the load balancer application, what will happen? That device will become the load balancer. Now the problem is, in which language I'm going to create the firewall? In which language I am going to create the load balancer? This will depend upon your control plane. If you are using POX, Rio, that is written in Python. That means I have to write certain code in Python. So my that 2000 device or 5000 device, what it will become? It will become a firewall of 20 lakh rupees. And what will happen? I will take the data plane. I will write the program of load balancer. So what will happen? That will device become like a 50 lakh rupee device. And if I am going to write a program of switch, what will happen? It will behave like a switch. And if we are going to behave, want it to behave like a router, it will behave like a router. And if you are using ODL or floodlight, they are in Java. That means you have to write. Like in our, me and in my team's case, what we did, we created our own firewalls. We have created our own load balancer. Normally, we me and my team, they work on POX controller and Rio controller. So what we have done, we have created, because Rio and POX both are in Python. So what we did, we written, me and my team, they have written the code, firewall code. So what is that 5,000 device which we buy from some company? Now that 5,000 device is properly behaving like a firewall. And on that same hardware, if we run the load balancer program, what happens? That becomes the load balancer. Sometimes what happens? Sometimes normally in government departments, certain time 1st March is there. Generally, so what we do? We purchase certain things which are of no use. Suppose we wanted a load balancer, but we have purchased a firewall. Now what happens in traditional network? You cannot change. If you buy the router, you router as a switch, or if you buy the switch, you cannot make it router. If you buy the firewall, you cannot make it a router. But if you are using SDN, what you can do? Data plane. On data plane, what you are going to have? You can run any control plane. On that control plane, what you are going to do? You are going to write one application, and that device will behave like your different types of. So most of the now the industry people, they are not buying the products from the traditional companies. So what they are doing? They are creating the application itself. The latest example is AT&T. Recently, on their data center, they have, by using basically they are using the ODL, Open Daylight, and they purchased 50,000 this data planes, and by using SDN, those 50,000 data planes they are using for different purposes. So that is the flexibility with the SDN architecture. List of the different controllers that are available. Tremor is there, floodlight is there, flow visor is there, POX is there. For research purpose, POX is considered best. But if you want to move into the industry, then ODL and Rio are the best. Let me further relate this technology. What is the benefit when we are separating the this data plane. Like earlier day, we used to have the mainframes. What was in mainframe? Specialized hardware, specialized OS, specialized application. That means we were not able to change anything. So only few organizations were able to afford. But when the PCs came, we used to assemble the PCs. On that, we used to install the operating system to our choice, Windows, Linux, and then according to our choice, we used to launch the applications. If I'm a normal person, I used to use Office. If I'm a DTP type of person, PageMaker or CorelDRAW, that type of things we used to have. That means when the hardware was commoditized, what happened? Lot of innovation is there. Same way in networking, what is happening? These routers, switches, load balancer, these are specialized hardware, specialized OS, and specialized applications are there. But now what is happening? We take the data plane, lot of companies are there. So we are just going to take the this data plane. Then according to our choice, like in our case, we made the choice that because we were comfortable in Python, so we made the choice that we are going to use POX and Rio. So it is our choice. So we choose the POX or Python as a network operating system. And then in our case, we created the load balancer application. Then we created one firewall application. Later on, even we created one malware detection system. That means you have to just code, and that your 5,000 device, it will become the device that you want. So the advantage of this SDN. Now, use cases. Sometimes we are not interested. We are not interested in creating this firewall and load balancer, these type of ourselves. Now, what are the other SDN use cases? So I will cover 4 to 5 SDN use cases. Now, the biggest use of SDN is done by the Google. Now, how the Google is using? And please remember, whenever we talk about the Google, they are always pioneer in many technologies. That means when we heard about the technology already 4 to 5 years back, they are working on these technology. So even in the case of SDN, when we start learning about the key, there is one technology SDN which is going to change the world. Google was already using it in their data center. So how they are using, for what purpose they are using? So in the case of Google, what they have identified that they have got 3 type of traffic is there. One is traffic like Gmail, or you are using their Docs, or you are using their YouTube. They are saying one of type of data is using email, documents, and video. They consider this traffic as the more prioritized. Like in normal life, what happens? 2 type of traffic is there. Like today from Moga, I was coming to the Chandigarh. I was coming in ordinary car. That means 2 or 3 times the policemen, they stopped us for checking. But if I have put a red light on my car, what would have happened? Then what would happen? My car would have been given the preference. That means because the police will understand, that means this is VIP car. So they have given us the preference. Same way, that means some traffic you are going to prioritize, some traffic you are going to consider normal. Same way, Google recognized that their traffic is of 3 types. First type is of email, YouTube type of traffic, and their doc type of traffic. Then second type, like Hadoop type. In Hadoop, what you do? You perform lot of computation. And the third type recognize, like when you save some file on Dropbox, it automatically replicated to 3 different zones, servers. So that is replication. That once we are saving some data on the Google, Google Cloud, what they do? They take the backup, replicate that data. So they found out that 3 type of traffic is there. So they used traffic engineering. That means they wanted to give preference to this traffic, email type of traffic. So they prioritize this traffic. Second type of traffic computational, they said it is of low priority, so little bit less resources. And third type of replication, the least priority. So by using this method, it is their case study that they were able to utilize their approximately 100%. Before SDN, their utilization was from 30 to 40% of their data center connectivity. And most of the other companies, their utilization is 30 to 40. But in the case of Google, it is 100%. That is why Google, I always say Google is Google, because it is pioneers in many technologies. So first use case of your SDN is traffic engineering. When you want to prioritize certain traffic, you want to give less importance to the another traffic, then SDN is most suitable. Second, now please remember, whenever we talk about cloud, we talk about the data center. Please remember, in earlier days, this was the data center type of topology. That means core switch was there, then distribution switch was there, then SS switch was there. Then with SS switch, we used to attach the PCs. Now, what was the problem with this technology? This was the most vulnerable. And if H1 has to send the traffic to H2, H8, what will used to happen? They from this to this to this to this to this to this. This is wrongly shown. This link is not there. That means if H1 has to communicate with the H8, it has to take lot of path, which is not suitable. So these days, earlier, 15 years back, it was okay, this technology, this topology. But now these days, data center does not use this topology. So where they have shifted to spine leaf. That means in spine leaf, what happens? Only two layers are there, spines and leaf. And with leaf, we attach the pieces. So what happens? Suppose from this to this PC, something has to go. So from this, that means number of hops are less. So these days, most of data center, they use this type of spine leaf topology. And for managing this type of topology, SDN is considered the best. And please remember, for this spine and leaf, they are nothing but they are switches. And please remember, when we buy the Cisco switch or D-Link switch or Jupyter switches, they are called black box switches, because software is there, dedicated software is there, we cannot make changes. But now these days, 50% of switches, they are white box switches. That means we are just going to buy the switch, and according to what we are going to do, we are going to install our network operating system. So in the case of, I have already given the example of AT&T. So in their case, they did not buy the black box switches. They buy the your white box switches, and they use the ODL as the controller for managing their data centers. So these days, this spine leaf is the favorable, you can say, data center topology. And you cannot make data centers with work perfectly if you are not using the SDN. So SDN's second use case is in new data centers, you have to use the SDN, because with SDN you can manage the traffic from properly. So second use case is in data center. Then this is one new thing which is happening in SDN, and which is very critical from the viewpoint of your security. Now, what is happening these days? Because these days I also get a lot of calls for taking security lecture. No, most of the times, almost our 20 to 30% time of an organization and individual person, they're concerned about the security, because lot of different malwares are there, ransomware, then DDoS attacks are there, lot of things are happening. So security is one of the most important. So what happens in real life? In real life, when we maintain the servers, we generally look at the logs file. What has happened to our systems? That means once the incident has happened, we generally try to check the logs. What has happened? Who has tried to assess? Then we try to design our security system. But what is happening now? They are recommending that we are going to use band network telemetry int. What will happen? Little bit, I will just, because this is one future area where SDN is going to be very critical. What happens? One packet from this to this place goes. What happens? When it goes to this switch, it will note down how much time it has taken. Then when it will go to there, again it will note down certain things. What was the delay? What was problems this feed, whether this packet has to retransmit or not. So all the things, that mean when the packet will be passing through, it automatically will note down all the things. Like I was just giving the example from morning from Moga to Chandigarh. I was when coming. When I started from Moga, when I reached Chandigarh, reaching Chandigarh, I just informed my family that I have reached. That means I was not giving them the step-by-step information that I now have reached Ludhiana, now I have reached Samrala, these type of things. But that is better, because if something happens to me or my car, if I'm giving them the reports of every second, what will happen? It will be good. They will be able to locate me. Same way, in this case, what will happen in band network? Shortly, it is called int. What will happen when the packet from this it is going to reach there? It will have all the information itself, from where it has passed. From then, what we can do? We can check whether it has passed the specified path or not. It has gone, and it will have lot of ramification for the security purpose. That means this will be used for better security. So this is another use case of SDN. Then this is already all the cloud computings are using virtual networks. Please remember what is virtual network. Please remember, whenever we do the networking, there is limitation of hardware. That means we cannot create more than 4,000 separate networks. But now in these days in cloud, millions of customers are there. Suppose as a customer, me as a customer, I want different type of network, and other people, millions of people like me, they want separate network in cloud computing. That is called virtual network. But the problem with network is we cannot create more than 4,096 different networks, which are called VLANs. So what the SDN doing? SDN is able to make it millions of. That means now already Google Compute, your Google Cloud, your Amazon Cloud, your Azure Cloud, what they have already implemented the virtual network. This is the diagram of AWS. That means AWS, we can create our public subnet. Public subnet mean internet facility will be available. This is private subnet. That means like we do the networking in our local labs, we can do the same networking in cloud, and millions of people can create their separate network, virtual network. That is the another use case of SDN. Remember, whoever is working in cloud computing, we know if you have to implement your own private cloud, OpenStack software is there. And please remember, OpenStack software make the use of SDN very clearly. That means very advanced level of SDN they have implemented in OpenStack. This is one diagram I have taken from the OpenStack cloud. That means R1 is the router. Then we have got switches net1. then we have got switches, net2, all has been virtually created. In OpenStack, one component is there, Neutron. Neutron, what it does, it helps you to create your own networks. And how many networks you can create? Millions of networks. So please remember, no cloud can survive without the SDN. And generally, in cloud, we generally do not use the term SDN, software defined networking. We generally say network as a service, NAS cloud. So NAS cloud is nothing. It is behind the scene using your SDN. So that is the another example. Again, these are short. Now I will try to give another. Let me share one thing to make you more clear the things. I'm just going to share this also. Is visible. Please, I'm showing you one diagram in Pixel. Again, a little bit technical, but it is very necessary to understand SDN and it is related technology. I have already discussed what are the different uses. That means traffic engineering. Then you can create virtual network. Then what you can do is in-band telephone connectivity. Then in a new type of data center, leaf and spine topology you can use. Now, certain another technologies are there which are related to SDN. So for make you understand, I will just show you one diagram. That means I have got internet and this is my local network. And please remember, any organization, when the traffic from internet, it enters into your switch, it does not enter directly. Sometimes router is there. Sometimes IDS is there. IDS mean intrusion detection system. If somebody is going to perform attack, it is going to detect. And sometimes firewall is there. We want to block certain type of traffic. Then sometimes load balancer. It is not necessary that all the organizations are going to have all the devices there. But the big companies, they will have the routers also, IDS also, firewall also, load balancer also. Now, this is the traditional. That means, suppose I'm talking about a company 6 to 7 years back. If that company, it will have internet connection. That means these 4 devices will be there. And then we will have internal network. Now, what has happened when the SDN has come? So I will show another diagram that will make the things more clear. So I am again going to share. So I will increase the font size. So this is going to make you clear how the SDN is going to help you. Please remember, that means internet, this is local network. Now I do not want to purchase costly firewall, costly that IDS and load balancer, because almost 1 crore will be the budget. Now what I want to keep the cost, suppose 2 lakh rupees. Instead of spending 1 crore, I just want that cost should be not more than 2 lakh. This can happen. How this is going to happen? What I will do? I will take 4 data plane. And please remember, those data planes are also called SDN data plane. We can name them data plane also. And sometimes we call them dumb devices because they are non-intelligent. If we are going to attach control plane, then only they are going to behave like a switch, router, load balancer or firewall. Otherwise, they are dumb. And we can call them forward. That means what I'm going to, like in my personal case, when we created the firewall, we just purchased one small data plane for 5,000 rupees. Same way, what I can do, I can purchase that for, but because this is a little bit bigger organization, so we would purchase little bit sophisticated data plane. Suppose that is going to cost you 50,000 rupees. So that means I will spend 2 lakh rupees on these devices. Then what I'm going to do? I attach one SDN controller. It could be POX, it could be Rio, it could be ODL, ONUS, or Floodlight. then what I'm going to do? I will create application for router application, IDS application, firewall application, and load balancer application. And the beauty of SDN controller is it can manage all these devices. That means it is modular. That means I can program it that it should behave like a router, RMIN router. It should behave like a IDS. It should behave like a firewall. It should behave like a load balancer. So what will happen? This is free, and slowly and slowly people will, like we have created, although we have not still open source our applications, because the person who are working with me, they are still doing the PhD, so we cannot release those applications at this point of time, but in future we might be releasing those applications in the open source. That means what, or you can yourself create these applications. So what will happen? Only the data plane cost will be there, and what will happen? We will be able to make these devices. And the another benefit is, let me again go to this. What happens? Sometimes you want from internet, your connection should be terminated to the router. Then IDGS should be there. Then firewall should be there. Then load balancer should be there. But this is not always the case. Sometimes the people prefer IDS. That means first they want to detect whether there is some attack. Then they would stop. Then, or first, that means different organization, their chain will be different. So in this case, if these are physical, we have to remove the physical and we have to again readjust, which is very difficult. But in the case of SDN, what happens? To controller, we will instruct, no, please do not run the IDS here. Run this router here and run load balancer here. That is the manageability. And please remember one thing. When we talk about the traditional devices, suppose I have purchased from certain company, I have purchased the firewall, and I'm finding that 90% this firewall is okay, but I want 1 to 2 more functionalities. But what I have to do? Because that is not open source, we have to require that company. Now, it will depend upon the company whether they are going to incorporate those changes or not. Generally, if lot of customers require those, then only they will make changes. Otherwise, they are not going to make changes, and it can take 6 months to 1 year. But in our case, like when we created the firewall, we created the firewall layer 3, layer 2 firewall. Then later on, we extended it to layer 4. Then we wanted our firewall to work on application layer. Then what we did, that means we written the code and we were able to convert. So if you are using the SDN, that means whatever is in your mind, what you have to little bit code, and then that behavior will be there. And another problem with traditional network is, if I have devices, let me again show. If I've got 4 traditional devices, I have to manage this separately. I have to manage this separately, manage this separately, manage this separately. Like in the case of AT&T, 50 devices are normal devices. I have to individually manage these devices, individually configured. But in the case of SDN, what happens? Another bad, it is centrally controlled. You can control it centrally. So that is the another advantage of SDN. And another use case I will show. Again, I'm going to share. This is another one. Because we have already seen traffic engineering is there, data center uses is there, then virtual network the user is there, uses is there. We have seen a lot of user, but normally we teach SDN or we discuss SDN. Lot of people say, sir, what SD-WAN? And normally once we have just 2-minute lecture we have started, they start asking, what is SD-WAN? Because this SD-WAN is getting very popular, and it is related to your you can say SDN. So I will explain for 5 minutes what is SD-WAN, because again this is related to SDN. So another big use of SDN is going to be in SDN WAN. Now, what is this SDN WAN? So let me first show you what is the traditional WAN. In traditional WAN, what happens? Generally, head office is there, then branch offices are there. That means most of the companies, they are organized, companies are organized in this way. That means head office is there, then branch office is there. So what happens, suppose this company is have got 3 application. One is custom application, which is running on their server. And plus what they are using, they are also, and for what purpose they are using cloud? For getting the virtual machines. That means they are using infrastructure as a service. Then the another thing that they are using software as a service. That means they are using Office 365, they are using doc. Now what happens in traditional WAN? Normally, what happens? First of all, in branch office, there is one router is there. To router, we have to manually configure that router. Then what happened? When I have to access this application, I have to access this application by using VPN, that type of, by using lease line. And even the most dangerous thing, or the thing that is considered a very lengthy process, even when we have cloud, first we have to connect to this, their company's main office, then we are going to access this their resources, and it causes lot of delay. So this lot of company, what they started, they replaced this traditional WAN with this SDN WAN. So what is SDN WAN? In SDN, what happens? Again, custom application is running. Again, VM is running on your infrastructure as a service, and your storage as a service, doc and Office 3 is running on your cloud. Now, what happens? First of all, when you are using SDN, first of all, zero provisioning is there. That means central controller will be there. Whatever device you are going to use, the moment you are going to connect, what will happen? Automatically, it will be provisioned. That means that is why we called it as zero provisioning, because sometimes configuring certain security settings, it is very difficult from the point of employees. So zero provisioning is there. Plus, second thing, if they have to custom application, they can connect to directly. But the most important thing, when they have to connect to the infrastructure as a service or SaaS, what the SDN WAN do? It allows us with the security to directly access this. Now, please remember, these days, due to COVID-19, everybody is working from the home, and most of the company, they use cloud. So this lengthy process of going from the main center to this, that is no longer required. By using SDN WAN, what we can do? We can directly access. And another beautiful thing, you do not need lease line. You can use simple broadband or 4G in SD-WAN. So already SDN WAN is getting deployed in very big way. And another thing, related technology, the last one that I am going to touch is again related, because when the question answer will be there, the people are going to ask about one another technology. So what is that technology? That technology is NFB. We always say that sometimes SDN and NFB, they are just like brother sisters. That means they are closely related. And so let me explain for 5 minutes, because sometimes it is very confusing. And for me also, when we started, we were not for quite a time, we were not able to understand what is the main difference between SDN and NFB, because both are sometimes talk together. Sometimes when we deliver the lecture, SDN 60% questions are on SDN, but 40% questions are on NFV. So to make the thing clear, I will take just 5 minutes. Now, again, I am taking this example. I mean, we were having this network. That means we were having tradition. And by using SDN, what I have done, instead of spending 1 crore, I have kept my cost at 2 lakhs. But now I do not want to use that. That means I do not want to use this SDN. I want to use certain another technology. So another technology is your NFV. Now, what the NFV is, let me explain. Now, what I will do again, internet, local network. Now, what I will do, I will not purchase 4 data plane. What I will do, I will purchase one commodity server. That means I will just assemble one server. We can assemble. That is called commodity. Or a lot of companies are there which are going to give you at very low rate these servers, or you can yourself assemble. So we call this as x64 commodity server. Now what I'm going to do, I will take this server and I will create VM1, VM2, VM3, VM. What this VM will have? This will have IS, this firewall, this will have router, this will have load balancer. Now what will happen? The traffic will come to this commodity server and we will perform service chaining. That means I will say first go to the IDS, then to firewall, and these are called virtual network functions. These are called physical functions. This one, physical function, that means these are your virtual network function. So that means with one server, what I'm going to do, I will create the VM. So please, already this has started happening. The companies, big telecommunication companies, they are not attaching hundreds of devices. Sometimes they are using this NFV also, because almost sometimes these are related, because this will what, instead of having these 4 devices, 1 devices will be more than sufficient. And for VM, and what we can do, we can change the sequence also. We can perform the sequencing that no, first go the traffic to the firewall, then to IDS, then to load. So again, this is one another technology which is closely related with this SDN. Now, in the end, some things, because 2 things just I want to. What are the companies, emerging companies which are in SDN, and what are the established companies? So these are the new companies which are coming up, big which is already there, Brocade. These are the emerging companies. Cumulus, again, I have used this product, extremely powerful. And please, like Android made certain companies fail, big company, and due to Android they have got failed. Same way, this Cumulus company, their operating system is very powerful, and when we are using, generally we are getting the things at half the cost. Then PKIT is there. Lot of emerging companies are there which are already billion-dollar companies. And Cisco, VMware, Juniper Network, HP, Huawei, they are well established. And one last thing, because I will not take much time. Yes. So, because I've seen certain research scholars are also there. So what are the main research areas in this scalability? That means if we want like AT&T, they are 50,000 switches. Is our controller is going to have that? So one scalability on you can work which how can you increase or you can do the better scalability. Then control plane bottleneck, because when we have to communicate with the data plane, we need control plane, and the traffic from control plane to data plane, that is one big bottleneck. And how to slice the resources among controller. Now sometimes one controller is not sufficient. If we have got 1 lakh switches, one controller is not sufficient. Suppose we have 10 controllers, how we are going to divide, how we are going to slice. Then latency between controller and switches, because these are dumb devices. So controller has to pass the instructions to the switch. So latency is there. So how to reduce that latency? Then SDN application, like me and my team, we mostly work on SDN applications, how to create firewall, how to create malware detection type of software, how to create load balancer type of. Now we are planning to work on IDS type of things. And please remember one, for implementing private cloud, OpenStack software is used by many companies. So we want that OpenStack's network should be managed by the SDN, but still problems are there. So you can work in this area also. So with this, I will conclude the discussion, and I will go on because already 7:20 is there. So now I will take the questions.
Thank you, Vipin sir. It was a wonderful session, which I am sure will have enlightened the participants about the power of SDN. There are some questions by the participants, which I would like to take up now, with your permission, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So the first question, do these topologies use any specific routing algorithm like Digistra's or Bellman-Ford or Kruskal algorithm?
No, SDN, we can create our own algorithms, but sometimes what happens, because most of the companies, they have already made lot of investment in traditional. So mostly what is happening these days, most of the switches which are being created by the vendors, they are hybrid switches. That mean they support the traditional protocols also. They support this SDN also. So when we are using this hybrid, and at this point of time, this is tragedy that 90% of switches, they are hybrid. So still what is happening, these are using traditional protocols also. And please remember one another technology is coming up, which will remove the necessity of these protocols, which is P4. That means in P4, what you can do, you can design your own switches also. You can design your own protocols also, because these protocols are has been designed many years back. So yeah, there is one another technology is there, P4, with which we can design our own switches and our own protocols also. So I will say currently we are using those algorithms also, plus certain new also. Hopefully this answers your questions.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, how is the virtual network managed? Like, where is the data stored and how is it all managed at the back end?
Please remember, generally what is there, cloud implementation on that, because distributed architecture is there, like key value store is there. Most of the information is kept in key store database. Like we have know that NoSQL database, many varieties are there. But in these type of things, key store database values are used. And please remember, in virtual networks, basically what we are using virtual switch, and the most popular virtual switch is OVS. And please remember, OVS has got the same, that means it supports those open flow protocol. It supports SDN. So what happens? That means we are using key store values, plus we are using OVS for implementation. So for storage purpose, I will say key value store they are using. Hopefully this answers your question.
Yes, sir. Sir, next question we have. By centrally controlled, do you mean that it is based on some kind of star topology, etc.?
No, not like that. But sometimes what happens when, like in my diagram, what I have shown, one controller was there. So I have to, if control many switches, what I have to do? I have to I have to attach a controller with some switch or some device, then I will be able to control those switches. But sometimes what happens, sometimes we say that we are just placing one controller, so that will be called centrally managed. But sometimes what happens, some echo is there, please mute the mics. What happens, sometimes we attach 3 to 4 controllers, so then we have a global view. If 10 switches are there, 3 switches will be managed by one controller, 3 will be by another, and 4 will be by. Then what we need, like ONUS controller, what it has got? It has got this facility. That means we can say we can divide the workload, and then it will have logical central view. One is physical center view, that means only one controller is there, it is going to manage. Then one is logical, that means we have got many controllers, but they will have get one global view. So that is the two deployments, that means we refer. And basically in both, what happens, central view of the network is there. Like in certain movies, what we see, one control room is there. So in control room, what they are seeing, hundreds of TVs are there. That means they are able to view all the things. Same way, this control plane, what it does, it has got the view of all the switches. So I will say central view. Is this clear?
One last question I have. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you can ask.
SDN with NFV.
That is again a very a relevant question also. So what we can do, like Samiko is there, like in FV, what we are doing, we are getting the VMs, but now we have to do the service chaining. Normally service chaining is manual. That means we are saying the first traffic should go to this IDS, then to this firewall. But by using this SDN, what we can do? We can make that nature dynamic. That means the placement of VMs that can be handled by your SDN. So that is where we can combine this SDN with NFB. Hopefully this answers the question.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It was wonderful. I would now request sir to kindly present Dr. Gupta with a certificate for the session.
Dr. Ritika, can you click on OK button? There is some message.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, before presenting certificate, let me welcome Professor A.K. Saini, the Vice President of IET, an Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, and President-elect of Computer Society of India here. He will be delivering vote of thanks. Dr. Bipin Gupta, absolutely fabulous talk as always. And as I said in beginning only, that we have no option but to go for a more agile, more software oriented, more manageable and more programmable kind of network. And this kind of network will certainly help us to get absolutely different and new experience for whichever application we are going to use. So the network has to go a lot many changes. Thank you so much. And this certificate is only to remind you that you have been part of this wonderful webinar, participants from all parts of the country and abroad. And thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Ritika. Professor A.K. Saini is here.
Thank you, sir. I would now request Professor A.K. Saini, Vice Chairman, Computer Society of India and IET and Dean, University School of Management Studies, GGS IPU, to kindly propose his vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Ritika. I think I'm audible.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it has been a wonderful talk given by Dr. Vipin Gupta. I think on behalf of the organizers, including the Computer Society of India, I think it has been really wonderful for all the participants. I'm sure this new technology, which basically is talking of the networking technology and open source technology, which is going to really they change the whole landscape, especially when you look from the perspective of the cloud computing and the network management. I think it is going to really change the whole scenario. I think Dr. Gupta has very nicely brought out this concept in a very simple and lucid manner. I think at the end of the people, I think at the presentation, I could see he has thrown open a lot of research issues also, which could be grabbed by a lot of the participants out here who are looking for research in this new domain of knowledge. I think so, sir, Dr. Gupta, we are really indebted to you on behalf of the Computer Society of India and our hero of the webinars, Dr. Aman Hoda, who has taken this resolve that he must try to educate different researchers, students, and faculty members on new areas which actually have not been touched upon so far. I think we can see the kind of popularity by the number of audience which we find in all these webinars, right? So I think thank you so much, Dr. Gupta, and all the participants for sparing your time in this nice evening, Saturday evening. I think we all have learned a lot from this, and I'm sure you'll definitely take new knowledge with you, which is going to really help you in either teaching or in kind of research area. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I would again thank Dr. Gupta for the wonderful explanation. Distinguished panelists and participants who have continuously supported us through this webinar. Thank you to all of you who have joined us on this auspicious day. Thank you for being here with us. This webinar room will now convert to a center. All participants are requested to kindly fill and submit the feedback form so that they can receive their certificate of participation in their inbox. In case you do, after filling the feedback form, there is some problem, you do not receive the certificate